you see it now? I repeat, do you see it now? All these times I've been trying to warn you people about what's been going on with this town called Chillicothe, Ohio. Everything that I've been talking about up to this point in my journal entries, so to speak. I've been trying to highlight and illustrate to you what's been going on around here. And obviously, for one reason or another, many people are not listening to me. But maybe this will get your attention. Approximately 1 month ago in April, on April 12th, 2024, the Fox Farm Inn building, an old Greek brick building, Greek-style brick building, it got demolished to the ground by a group led by Schiff Properties. It was a building that just stood there in that part of town in Chillicothe. Wasn't hurting anybody, was not hurting anybody, was not hurting anything. And because people wanted to have their progress, because people wanted to do whatever they wanted to do, they saw that building as a threat and they took it down. A building that was constructed in 1843 by a certain Dr. Jonathan Nourse, a building that stood 181 years, is now gone because of selfishness, because of greed, because of that lust for power, because of that urge just to build something that people in this town really don't need. That's why we don't have buildings like the Fox Farm Inn anymore. And it's things like this that I've been trying to highlight and illustrate to you guys over time in my other entries about Chillicothe, Ohio, that for one reason or another goes over your heads and you don't want to listen to it. Well, if you go through these articles that have been posted by the Scioto Post, by sciotopost.com, you just read it for yourselves. Don't take my word for it, but just read these articles. And if you care enough to read between the lines, you're going to figure it out quickly what's going on around here. But I do question how much on the up and up you guys are. I respectfully question that. So I urge you people to really read these articles, really read the fine print of this. It says here, Chillicothe's Fox Farm Inn fully demolished Friday, which is April 12th of last month. And I'm just going to give you the gist of what happened here. The historic home on North Bridge Street, best known as the Fox Farm Inn, and recently E.M. Smith Jewelers, was fully reduced to rubble today, meaning on the 12th of April. The front part of the house was standing this morning, but the job was soon completed. The large Greek Revival brick house, built in 1843 by Dr. Jonathan Nourse at 1334 North Bridge Street, was a popular eatery until a prominent local jeweler shop made it their showroom. A Southern Ohio Preservation Consortium was in contact with the owner, Schiff Properties, who had a demolition permit in February 2024 before the property was transferred from the Nourse car dealership in March. Thousands signed a petition in a public effort to convince the Columbus developer to not replace the building with new development. But a week ago, meaning in April, demolition equipment had been delivered to the site. Now it goes on to link to an earlier story on April 1st, which also you can read, that it was like a rallying cry, so to speak, to get signatures going for a petition to prevent this from happening. But of course, that went ignored, did it? And I'm going to read another article here on the side of the post real fast. Loss of Chillicothe's Fox Farm Inn leads to Chambers' request for balance. I'm not going to go through the other parts of this, but I'm going to leave it up to you guys to read that. But when you read through this, it should highlight to you what's really going on. In a roundabout way, even on the outside looking in, you should be able to see what's going on here. And yes, it talks about Mike Throne, the president and CEO of the Chillicothe Ross Chamber of Commerce. Now, I have my opinions about him in particular, but technically he doesn't say anything wrong in this article. But in my opinion, the timing is way off. The timing of this is way off. And I also believe it's way too little, way too late in the case of people like Mike Throne. But anyway, he was quoted as saying, "In a city as historically rich as Chillicothe, there can be a better balance between further economic development and retaining historic structures," which in and of itself I don't disagree with, but you know, too little, too late at this point. Now, to give you some recent historic backdrop on this, it was essentially the last and most significant home remaining in the Bridge Street commercial district. It became E.M. Smith Jewelers until 2020 when it was bought by the Nourse car dealership. Keep in mind that name of that company, who has a pattern of buying strategic properties using each one short term as a used car lot, which is what Nourse car dealership always does, and then eventually reselling each property. This is what they do. This is part of what Nourse does. Nourse transferred the Fox Farm Inn to Columbus-based Schiff Properties, who secured a demolition permit in March, apparently before having title. And lastly, to wrap this up, back to Mike Throne, president and CEO of Chillicothe Ross Chamber and Commerce. He wrote a letter on the 15th of April to Seth Brown, chairman of Chillicothe Design Review Board, just writing Seth a letter about the Fox Farm Inn building and how much value it carries, and that it did carry, and losing it was very significant. And Mike Throne, he was just citing certain codes, local codes like Ordinance 1167.10 of the city's codified ordinances to protect similar structures, yada yada yada. And technically speaking, there's like nothing wrong with the letter itself, but it's really the timing of it that gets me. That these people who are put in charge of this town, even when they try to do something legitimate, when they try to do something that's actually pretty good and helpful for this town, it's too little, too late. By the time they get off their butts and try to do something, Shift Properties or groups like them, they're already there. They're already there with the bulldozers. So tell me what got accomplished here. Nothing. We have a 181-year-old building that's no longer with us that got plowed down to the ground, and who knows? Who knows what they're going to do with that land now? They're probably going to put up yet another restaurant or car dealership knowing this town. So do you think we made progress there? No, we did not. Without going into it again, no, we did not. This is about greed. This is about power. This is about basically sticking it to the people of Chillicothe. This is what this story in particular symbolizes to me. And I don't know how you guys are going to read this, but this is how I read this. The Nourse car dealership, shame on them. God rebuke them. Because they sold it off to the Schiff Properties. Nourse car dealership, they don't care. They don't care about you or me. They just want to make a quick buck off people. They want to put people in debt, renting and buying their cars and vehicles so they can feel better about themselves. Okay, let's be honest. And Schiff Properties, they're based in Columbus. They don't care about Chillicothe. Who are they to decide, which buildings get demolished here? So what if you're based in the capital city of Columbus? You have no bearing about what happens down here in Chillicothe. So why should you have the right to do that? I don't care if Nourse car dealership sold it to you. You should not have to make that call. You should not have that power. So really, Schiff Properties, God rebuke you too. Okay. And there should be boycotts. There should be, you know, open rebukes. There should be just, you know, whenever you can verbally bash these groups, you should. Okay, because this does not benefit the people of Chillicothe. And I opened this up by saying, do you see it now? It's a plain question for you guys to answer. Do you see it now? Answer yes or no. If you say yes, then great. If you say no, then I can't help you. You have to do the digging for yourself. You have to read through these articles for yourself and understand what's going on here. Okay. Leadership in this town, in this county, and in this whole state of Ohio, let's be honest, they don't care about you or me. Okay. And taking down a building like the Fox Farm Inn, a building which did not hurt anybody to begin with. You're going to take that building down so you can put something that you so-called leaders really want? Is that what the average Chillicothe citizen wants? No. This is corrupt leadership, okay? And I don't want to hear otherwise from people. I don't want to hear otherwise from people in comments or, emails or whatever. This is corrupt leadership, and you got to call it for what it is, guys. Chillicothe, Ohio has corrupt leadership, and it needs to stop. It needs to be exposed, and it needs to be called out in the open. We need to have the courage to do it, okay? Whether you live in Chillicothe now or you don't, you need to be able to call it out. This whole setup is corrupt. That's all I got.